The hospital basement that wasn't on any map. I've worked in hospital maintenance for nearly a decade. I've seen things most people wouldn't believe, patients flatline and suddenly come back, security footage where figures walk through walls, entire wards where lights flicker for no reason. You get used to strange stuff after a while. But what happened last month, there's no getting used to this. The discovery. Our hospital is old. Parts of it date back to the 1940s, when it was a psychiatric ward. Renovations happened over the years, but the bones of the building are still the same. I was assigned to check a power outage in the East Wing, where most of the storage rooms are. While tracing cables, I noticed something odd, a locked metal door at the end of a hallway I'd walked down 100 times before. Only this time, the door was open. Inside was a stairwell leading down. But here's the thing, according to every blueprint I've ever seen, there's no basement beneath that wing. Of course, I went down. The basement. The air was damp and freezing. My flashlight beam barely cut through the dark, but I could make out rows of rusted hospital beds, restraints still strapped to them. Old patient files scattered on the floor, dates going back decades. The deeper I went, the more wrong it felt. The walls were scratched. Not just with words, but fingernail marks. And then I heard it, breathing. Not mine. Slow, rattling, coming from the far corner. When I swung my light over, there was nothing. But the breathing didn't stop. It moved. Circled me. Too close. I bolted back up the stairs. But when I reached the top, the door was gone. Just solid wall. The vanishing. I don't remember how long I wandered in that basement. Hours? Days? My phone battery died quickly. The only light came from my flashlight, and even that flickered. At some point, I started hearing voices. Some calling for help. Some screaming. And some whispering my name, though I never told anyone I was there. Finally, I found another staircase. It led up to a door marked morgue. When I pushed it open, I was back in the hospital. Same wing, same hallway. But everyone looked at me like they'd seen a ghost. Because I had been gone for 3 weeks. What no one knows. Security swears the cameras never saw me enter that door. My timecard shows I never clocked out that night. To them, I just vanished. But I know what I saw. I've kept one of the old patient files I found down there. The name and picture are faded, but the last page has a note scrawled in red. They never leave. They only change faces. And sometimes, when I walk the hospital halls late at night, I see patients I know are long dead. Watching me. Smiling. Like they're waiting for me to come back downstairs. The whispers continue. Ever since that night, I've been hearing things. At first, it was only in the East Wing. Footsteps behind me, a faint cough, my name whispered in a rasp I didn't recognize. But now, it follows me everywhere. I'll be repairing a boiler in the sublevel, and I'll hear voices through the pipes. I'll be in the staff lounge and see someone in scrubs walk past the window, only to realize the hall outside is empty. The worst was during a night shift. I looked up from my work and saw a woman standing at the far end of the hallway. Patient gown, pale skin, eyes wide open. I thought she was lost, but when I called out, she didn't move. She just lifted her hand and pressed her finger to her lips. And then she vanished. When I checked the security footage later, there was no one there. The file. I kept one of the old files I'd found in that hidden basement, even though I knew I shouldn't. The patient's name was mostly illegible, but the photograph showed a thin man with hollow eyes, staring too directly into the camera. Last week, I swore I saw that same man walking past radiology. I ran after him, but when I turned the corner, nothing. Later, when I checked my locker, the file was gone. In its place was a piece of paper folded neatly in half. No handwriting, just a printed message. Not your face yet. The return. I told myself I'd never go back down there. But the door, it came back. 2 nights ago, I was making rounds in the east wing and saw it again, that heavy metal door at the end of the hall. Only this time, it wasn't just standing open. It was breathing. I could see the door shudder, hear air being pulled in and out, like the entire frame was alive. Against every instinct screaming at me to run, I walked closer. The air grew colder, each step like walking into a freezer. And then, just before I reached it, the door exhaled. A hot, rancid breath washed over me. I almost turned back. But then I heard Daniel's voice. I know, I never told you about Daniel. He was my coworker, another maintenance guy. He disappeared a year ago. Everyone assumed he quit. But when I heard him calling my name from behind that door, I froze. I opened it. Below. The basement was the same, damp, endless rows of rusted beds, restraints dangling. But this time, I wasn't alone. Shapes moved in the dark. Not walking, shuffling, like broken marionettes dragged by unseen strings. Their faces were wrong, stretched too thin, mouths locked open as if frozen mid-scream. One of them turned toward me, and my heart stopped. It was Daniel. Or what was left of him. His eyes were gone, just 2 hollow pits, but he spoke in his normal voice. Why did you leave me here? I staggered back, but he followed. His movements jerky, unnatural, like his bones didn't fit right anymore. You should have stayed. You belong here too. I ran. The morgue door. Just like before, I found the morgue stairs. The door was closed this time, but when I pushed on it, it didn't budge. Behind me, the shuffling grew louder. Closer. My flashlight flickered, and for a second I saw dozens of them. Patients, staff, maybe even visitors, all staring at me. Some I recognized from old photographs in the hospital's archives. People who had disappeared. Their mouths opened in unison, but no sound came out. Then the door behind me opened on its own. I didn't think, I just ran through. The hospital above. When I stumbled back into the hallway, everything looked normal. Nurses moving, lights humming, the steady beeping of monitors. But something was off. No one looked at me. Not once. I tried speaking to a nurse I'd known for years, no response. It was like I wasn't there. Then I caught my reflection in a window. It wasn't me. It looked like me, but the eyes were hollow pits, just like Daniel's. And when I raised my hand to touch the glass, my reflection didn't follow. It just smiled. What I know now. I think I left part of myself down there. Or maybe, something else came back in my place. Since that night, patients have started vanishing again. A woman checked into the ER for chest pain, gone the next morning. A kid with a broken arm, gone by nightfall. Their names erased from the system as if they never existed. But I remember them. I see them. In the corners. In the mirrors. In my dreams. And sometimes, in my own reflection. The final warning. I don't know how long I can keep working here. I don't even know if I ever truly came back from that basement. Maybe I've been there all along, and this is just another hallway. Another trick. But if you ever find yourself in an old hospital, and you see a door where there shouldn't be one, don't open it. Because once you do, it knows you. And it never lets go. Tonight, I saw the metal door again. Only this time, it wasn't in the hospital. It was in my apartment. And it's already open. I don't know if this will reach anyone. I don't even know if I'm writing this for myself anymore. Maybe I'm just buying time before the door opens again. But I need to finish the story. If anyone ever finds this, maybe you'll understand what happened to me, and maybe you'll know how to avoid it. The door at home. When I last updated, I said the hospital's metal door followed me home. I wasn't exaggerating. I woke up at 3:17 a.m. to a metallic groan, like rusted hinges straining. At first, I thought it was a dream. But when I stumbled into my living room, there it was, a heavy steel door, identical to the one in the east wing. Bolted into the wall where my bookshelf should have been. And it wasn't shut. It was cracked open just enough to let the air through. And the air, oh God! The smell of damp rot, of antiseptic and decay. The same air from that hidden basement. And from the gap came voices. Not one, not two, dozens. Whispering my name. Some begging. Some commanding. Some laughing. I slammed the door shut and pushed the couch in front of it. I stayed there until sunrise, listening as something scratched at the other side. Long nails, dragging up and down the metal, again and again. The missing days. Since that night, time has stopped making sense. I'll lose whole stretches of hours. Sometimes days. Last week, I woke up, standing in the east wing hallway again, my hands covered in dirt, fingernails split and bloody. No memory of how I got there. The nurses say I've been showing up to shifts at odd hours, walking the halls without speaking. One even said she found me in an empty patient room, standing in the corner, facing the wall for nearly 2 hours straight. But I don't remember any of it. And yet, my reflection does. I've caught glimpses of myself in windows, in the shine of surgical instruments, even in puddles after rain. My reflection grins when I don't. It mouths words my lips never move to. Once, I swear it winked at me. It's like something else is walking around inside me, and I'm only conscious when it lets me be. The return below. 2 nights ago, I found myself back in the basement. I don't remember going down the stairs. I don't even remember the door opening. One blink, and I was there, rows of rusted beds, shadows shifting in the corners. And in the center of the room, I saw them. All the patients who had disappeared over the years. Standing perfectly still. Their eyes hollow, their mouths slack. Like dolls waiting for someone to wind them up. Among them was the boy with the broken arm. The woman with chest pains. Even Daniel. When I whispered his name, his head snapped toward me, too fast to be human. "You're late," he said in my voice. Not his. Mine. And then every figure in the room turned at once. A chorus of hollow faces, all speaking in unison with my voice. Trade. 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 The walls shook. The beds rattled. The floor split open beneath them, revealing nothing but blackness below, bottomless and hungry. And one by one, the bodies fell in, sucked into the dark like dust down a drain. Except Daniel. He stayed. He walked toward me. And when his hollow eyes met mine, I realized something horrifying. I wasn't looking at Daniel at all. I was looking at myself. The thing wearing me. It explained everything without words. I felt it inside me, pushing through my bones, tugging at my muscles. I wasn't the original anymore. I was the echo. The real me was still down there, screaming in that pit of blackness with the rest. The thing wearing me was only using my body as a mask. And it wasn't going to stop at me. The final choice. I ran. I don't even know where. Hallways twisted, lights flickered, alarms screamed. Somehow, I found the morgue door again, the one that leads back up to the normal hospital. But there was a difference this time. Another door stood beside it. Identical. Heavy steel. Breathing. The morgue door would take me back. Back to the hospital, back to pretending nothing happened, back to letting whatever's inside me spread further and further until it infects everyone I touch. The steel door. I knew where it led. Back down into the basement. Into the pit. And maybe, if I went through willingly, it would end with me. I stood there for what felt like hours, the whispers rising into screams. One voice, deeper than the rest, pressed against my skull like a hammer. Choose. What I did. I don't know if this was bravery or surrender. Maybe both. But I didn't take the morgue door. I pushed open the steel one. And I walked in. The darkness swallowed me whole. If this is the end, I don't think I'll be coming back. Not as me, anyway. But if someone else starts working maintenance at that hospital, and they start hearing whispers, seeing shadows, finding doors that don't belong. Please. Don't follow them. Don't open anything. Because if you do, you might let me out. I don't remember writing this, but it was in my drafts. The door is open. The hospital is only the beginning. Thought leaving the house would end it. I thought packing my things into the back of my car and driving across the state would break the connection. But I was wrong. The first night in my new apartment, I woke to the sound of scratching on the walls. At first, I thought it was rats or maybe the pipes in the old building. But when I pressed my ear against the wall, I heard whispering. Not faint, not my imagination, actual voices. They were chanting something in a language I didn't understand, a guttural rhythm that felt like it was drilling straight into my skull. I called my mom at 3 a.m. to calm down. She picked up, but instead of saying hello, she said, "You brought it with you." And then hung up. The escalation. Over the next week, things grew worse. Every reflective surface in the apartment, my bathroom mirror, the dark screen of my TV, even the glossy surface of my phone, showed me something that wasn't me. Sometimes it was a darker version of myself, with eyes too wide and teeth too sharp. Sometimes it was just a faceless figure, standing inches behind me. I covered the mirrors, taped black garbage bags over the TV, even started leaving my phone face down. But covering them didn't stop the feeling. That sense of being watched never left. The return of the box. One evening, after work, I came home to find something sitting in the middle of my apartment floor. The wooden box. The same carved box I had buried back at the house on Ashford Lane. The wood was darker now, almost black, as if it had been burned. And etched into the lid were new carvings, symbols I hadn't seen before. They pulsed faintly, like veins beneath the skin. I didn't touch it. Instead, I ran to my neighbor's place, banging on the door until she answered. I begged her to come inside and tell me if she could see it too. She looked around, confused, and shook her head. There was nothing there. Sleep paralysis, or something worse. That night, I experienced what I thought was sleep paralysis. I woke up, unable to move, my body heavy as stone. But my eyes worked. Standing in the corner of my bedroom was a figure, a tall, thin shadow with arms too long, its hands dragging across the floor. Its head twitched as if broken, and from its throat came the same guttural chant I'd heard through the walls. My chest tightened. I couldn't breathe. I couldn't scream. The figure crawled onto my bed, its face lowering toward mine. Its skin wasn't black, it was raw, blistered, like something had been burned alive and kept walking. The stench of rot filled my nose as it whispered into my ear. The house is not a place. It is a door. You are already inside. And then I blacked out. The research. The next day, desperate, I tracked down the history of the house. Turns out, it wasn't just abandoned because of age. Back in the 1920s, a family of 5 lived there. They were found dead, every single one of them, with their eyes burned out and strange markings carved into their skin. The police chalked it up to some kind of occult ritual, but no suspects were ever found. After that, the property changed hands a few times. Everyone who lived there either went insane, disappeared, or died. And here's the terrifying part, the box shows up in every story. Sometimes as a trinket, sometimes as a family heirloom. Always there. Always returning. The final message. Last night, I found something scratched into my bedroom wall. Not by me, not by anything human, the marks were deep, jagged, gouged into the plaster. It read. You don't live here. We live in you. And when I blinked, the letters were gone. But I know what I saw. I don't know how much longer I can keep this up. The line between reality and whatever this is has already blurred. The house, the box, the figure, they've followed me, rooted themselves into me. If I disappear after posting this, don't look for me. Don't search the house. Don't touch the box. Because once you acknowledge it, it knows your name. I made it back. At least, that's what I tell myself. The forest hasn't stopped whispering. At night, when the house goes silent, I hear the crunch of leaves outside my window, slow footsteps circling, circling. Sometimes, I glimpse her pale face in the glass. Not outside. Behind my reflection. I know I didn't really escape. I just brought the path back with me. And one day soon, it will open again.